One of my favorite things is that every single time I sit down to film a video, I completely forget how to make a video. I promise I'm not Googling how to make a video. Hey guys, it's Cece, and today I am here to do the Indigathon Book Tag. So hello, let me explain a few things. I wanted to do a video that was going to be quick and fun, but was also going to highlight some diverse titles, because I have been missing making videos for all of you. I am also tentatively participating in Indigathon throughout this month of November. If you don't know what that is, Indigathon is a month-long readathon that happens every November. It is hosted by Brody and Michelle, both of whom will of course be linked in the description down below, and it is a full month dedicated to reading books by Native and Indigenous authors. Brody and Michelle are two of my absolute favorite people, and I am so excited to be participating in the book tag this year. It's a really quick, simple tag, 6 questions long. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some books by Native authors that I have read and loved, and some on my TBR, which I hope is exciting. But real quick, before we get into answering all of these questions, I wanted to let you know that this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes to encourage curiosity and creativity. I have recommended Skillshare classes for all of you in so many different topics because I love to explore the range of topics that Skillshare offers classes for. Now, as we all know, I am continually struggling with sitting down and filming a video. I'm feeling deeply scattered of late. So I'm going to recommend a class that you can take on Skillshare all about productivity. It's a class called Real Productivity: How to Build Habits That Last. It's by Thomas Frank, and it's a great class that helped me learn about setting manageable goals, how to break things up into steps and make those steps a reality in my day-to-day life. There's so many more incredible classes on Skillshare as well, so I really recommend that you check out the platform. Skillshare Premium membership gets you access to the class that I mentioned today, as well as all of the classes on Skillshare's site, and that annual Skillshare membership works out to be less than $10 a month. Plus, the first 1,000 people who click the link in my description are going to get a free trial of Skillshare, so please definitely click that link. It would be super appreciated. Thanks again so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Check out the link in the description, check out the website, and now let's talk about the Indigathon book tag. So the tag starts out really strong. Question number 1, what is your favorite book by a Native author? This is definitely going to have to go to The Break by Katherina Vermette. I read this last year for Indigathon. This was actually Indigathon's group book last year, and it completely captivated me. The Break is a multi-narrator story. We're following all of these different women within one family who, some of them have kind of fractured off on their own, some of them are still very close, but there's this traumatic event that happens that changes the lives of all of the women in this family because it's a traumatic event that happens to one of their own. It's a sad book, but it's a gorgeous book following all of these complex and fascinating women at this point in time. It's about communication between family lines, about violence faced by women, about small and large acts of racism within the community. It's a brilliant book. I'm so glad I read it last year for Indigathon. Definitely my favorite book by a Native author. Question number 2 is, what Native book do you find yourself recommending the most often? And there was a part of me that wanted to say The Break. I feel like I talk about it all the time as a sort of standout, surprising book that I read in 2019, but I realized this might not be totally accurate. There might be one book that I talk about more, and that would be A Two-Spirit Journey by Ma-Nee Chacaby, which I also read last year during Indigathon. The subtitle of this is The Autobiography of a Lesbian Ojibwa Cree Elder. Ma-Nee Chacaby has led a deeply fascinating life, and this is her autobiography. It's written in a very dry manner, but is the most, heart-rending and deeply interesting books that I've ever read, and I'm so glad that I got to consume a little bit of Ma-Nee's life. I got to learn about her a little bit more. I may not recommend this on my channel as much, but I feel like I put it in pictures on Instagram constantly. It's such a good catch-all for books when you're trying to get stuff into people's hands that's going to get them to open their eyes and understand more viewpoints. I'm always throwing this on a stack of books to include in a photo. Question number 3 is, what is a book you've picked up because of someone else's recommendation? And I wanted to mention There by Tommy Orange. I actually picked this up on Brody's recommendation. This is their, like, favorite book by a native author. I believe they specifically mentioned it in their Indigathon book tag. This was like the number 1, and I knew that going into There, so I 100% read this because of Brody. This is a multi-perspective literary fiction book. I believe there are 12 narrators, and it is a series of voices. Some characters know each other, some characters don't know each other yet, but it's all leading up to the big Oakland powwow. That's kind of the point of this. And 100% read it because of Brody. I have read many, many books because of Brody and Michelle, but this was the first one that came to mind because Brody talks about it constantly. Question number 4 is, what is the most recent book by a native author that you have read? And that's easy. That's definitely going to be Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. I read this in October. No. Is that accurate? When did I read this? I read it during the Buzzwordathon for books that contain the word night. This is a slasher horror novel that has kind of an unreliable narrator element. Really, really fascinating book. I'm always captivated by Stephen Graham Jones, like, by his books, by his writing. I read one of his books last year called Mapping the Interior, and now I've read this. I really want to read The Only Good Indians, and there are so many more. This is the most recent book I read. I really enjoyed it. If you want a little bit of weird slasher horror, check out Night of the Mannequins. Question number 5 is, what is the next book you plan on reading by a native author? That is going to be The Marrow Thieves by Cherie Dimaline. I was supposed to read this at the end of October, and it didn't quite happen. I was participating in Fortnite Frights, and then everything collapsed on itself. But don't worry, you'll get a vlog update eventually. So this has moved into my Indigathon TBR. I'm really excited to read it. This is a dystopian book set in a world where global warming has, like, nearly destroyed the whole world, and native people are being hunted for their bone marrow, because basically the entire population has lost the ability to dream, and only through this bone marrow are they going to be able to have that again. I've heard incredible things about this book, been highly recommended before. I believe Michelle reached out to me on Instagram to be like, are you reading that for Indigathon? Yes, I am, Michelle. Hopefully. I'd love to get this finished before the end of November. And finally, question number 6 is, are there any 2020 releases you still want to get to? The answer to which is a resounding yes. So many. But specifically, some 2020 releases by native authors. I really, really want to get to Elatsoe by Darcy Little Badger. I've been hyping this for a few months. It is a YA contemporary. The main character is also Ace, and I'm sure I'm going to love it. Like I said, The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. That is also very much on my TBR for... I mean, I would love to get to it before the end of 2020, but I'll be honest, that might not happen. So those two are definitely at the top of my list for 2020 releases I haven't gotten to yet that I really, really want to get to. Okay, y'all, that's it. That's the whole tag. 6 questions, let you know a little bit more about some of the native books on my TBR that I've read and enjoyed. Other than that, I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. Please check out Skillshare. There are so many different ways to learn. There are so many different things that you can learn on that platform. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!